It's Monday, February 13th, 2023. I just got home a little while ago, just kind of catching up on today's markets and some of today's news, which I want to share with all of you. There's a few things that are very, very concerning that I want to talk about. But we'll start with the markets today. Markets were way up. Please comment down below. Somebody explain to me why the markets were way up today. I've got the Dow Jones up nearly 380 points today. NASDAQ up 173 points. Nobody telling me why the markets were up today. I was watching the futures last night. Dow Jones was down over 100 when I went to bed, and today it's up nearly almost 400. So what was the good news? Do the markets know something about tomorrow? Tomorrow we get the CPI. Maybe it's going to come in better than expected. Maybe somebody knows something. But if that's not the case, why in the world were the markets up today? Please comment down below and explain that to me. And while you're doing that, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you share these videos and make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is by subscribing. Economists expect a 0.4% increase in CPI for January, which will translate into 6.2% annual growth. That is the expectation tomorrow. But here on CNBC, it says inflation report due Tuesday has the potential to deliver some bad news. If the CPI comes in higher than expected tomorrow, there are going to be serious implications with these markets. I believe if we get higher than expected CPI tomorrow, I believe the Fed has no choice but to get very, very aggressive with interest rates. Now, that may not happen. We may get a better than expected number tomorrow. But if that happens, it's just going to be more manipulation. And even if it's worse than expected, that number will be manipulated also. They're manipulating the data and the numbers drastically just to kind of keep this thing pieced together, because they are running out of time. They are running out of solutions. What they're doing isn't working. You've got the Fed at one end buying stocks, buying bonds, and at the other end raising interest rates and not even admitting what the real inflation number is. Inflation is not 6.5%. You can multiply that by probably 2 to 3 times, and somewhere in there is the real inflation number. So, but getting back to what I was saying, if this number comes in higher than expected with all the manipulation, there's going to be serious implications in these markets tomorrow, and they're going to get crushed, and the Fed's going to have to come out, and they're going to have to get much, much more aggressive. So we will see what happens tomorrow. Who knows? Personally, who really cares? Because inflation is going to continue to go up no matter what they tell you and I. The standard of living in America is being absolutely crushed. The middle class being crushed. It is getting much harder to tread water with this economy right now. Relentless inflation and surging grocery prices have these Americans on edge. This was on Fox Business today. A woman who they interviewed told Fox Business things aren't going up a few cents. When she goes to the grocery store every month and stocks up, she says things when she goes there every month, things aren't going up a few cents. They're going up $2 to $3. That's how noticeable it is. Maybe tomorrow they'll tell us that everything's going to be okay, that food prices are coming down, and that you're delusional, and that you don't know what you're talking about when you go to the grocery store. That your checking account, your ATM card, it doesn't matter. You don't know what you're talking about. Prices are coming down. Just deal with it. So we'll see what kind of a manipulation they give us tomorrow. Here's one from the economic collapse, and we're going to shift gears here. This is tragic. I'm sure many of you have heard about this story. We have a town in the Midwest in Ohio. East Palestine is town in Ohio. Friday, there was a railroad accident. 50 cars, including 10 carrying hazardous materials, derailed in a fiery crash about 9 p.m. on Friday, February 3rd. Now, I saw some pictures of this, some video, this massive black plume of smoke just sitting above the city of East Palestine in Ohio. Very, very ominous looking. It looked like it came from some apocalyptic movie. And this is going to, this is an environmental nightmare that just took place. And it's amazing that it's not getting more coverage. Houses were evacuated while vinyl chloride was slowly released from 5 of the cars. And when they released it, they did a controlled burn. So to get this vinyl chloride out, they just released it into the environment and burned it. A controlled burn. Highly flammable, toxic chemicals were released into the environment, creating a massive dark plume of smoke. If you get a chance, Google this thing. It is scary looking. It is so ominous. It says here, officials warned the controlled burn could send phosgene and hydrogen chloride into the air. This stuff, extremely toxic. These chemicals are associated with increased risk of liver cancer and a host of other cancers. No one should be near this town right now. It's amazing that they've already allowed people to return to this town. But it says here that authorities are telling residents of East Palestine that it's perfectly safe to return to homes, nothing to be concerned about. I wonder if those authorities had children that lived in that town or family members, if they would tell them it was okay to move back into that town. They basically nuked this town with chemicals so that they could open up the railroad. They wanted those tracks cleared. They wanted the railroad open. And in order to do it quickly, they just released the chemicals and did a controlled burn. It's going to be interesting to see 10, 20 years from now how many of those people are going to have cancer. My heart goes out to that town. My heart goes out to those people. I would do everything in my power not to return to that town for quite a while. But of course, this is a town where there's a lot of poor people. They don't have a choice. Many of them are going to believe what they're told. They're going to head back to their homes, assuming that everything's safe because somebody with some authority said it's okay. Very, very sad. Very, very sad. And, you know, I don't know about all of you, but I love the environment, right? And we want to do whatever we can to protect the environment. And here we are, people releasing toxic, dangerous chemicals, burning them into the atmosphere in this small town of Ohio. People should be outraged. Where are the environmentalists? They should be outraged. I'm outraged. This is going to take years off people's lives. Sad, sad state of affairs. CNBC, 53% of student loan borrowers say that their financial stability relies on debt forgiveness. This is not my problem. It shouldn't be your problem. If somebody took out a loan, if they signed on the dotted line, they went and got a degree or didn't get a degree, it was up to them. They gave their word. They signed the obligation. They promised to pay it back. And now they're saying that their financial stability relies on debt forgiveness. I thought we had 11 million job openings. Why can these people not go and get 2 side hustles and start paying this back? Do you think that this might cause even more inflation if we're going to continue to pay other people's bills when we're sending money all over the world? And you know, we're talking about paying off these loans for people who obligated themselves to this, who gave their word to this, who signed on the dotted line. This is not my problem. It shouldn't be your problem. This is the problem of the people who promised to pay the money back. There's plenty of jobs out there. Maybe your degree, you know, isn't producing an income right now. Maybe the field of expertise that you chose, maybe that degree you chose is pretty much worthless, and now you found out it's worthless and you want us to pay for it. I think that's absolutely ludicrous. Go get a couple jobs and pay it back yourself. What are these people doing all day that we have to pay for this? I mean, we all work hard. We're all paying our taxes. We're working as hard as we can. And now we got to pay for these people's obligations? I don't think so. It makes me absolutely sick. New York Post. This is tragic. UHaul Rampage driver plows into New Yorkers. So this just happened. I was reading this today. I believe it just happened today. Somebody driving a U-Haul just started plowing over people in New York. Now, this person had a history of violence. This person was very suicidal, had a history of mental illness. I bring this up because I've stressed this many times with all of you. make sure you're exercising situational awareness. Know your surroundings. Know what's in front of you, next to you, and behind you. Pay attention. We have too many people walking around like this all day. All day. I cannot tell you the people I know that just all day glued to their phone in their house while they're walking around, while they're driving. It's shocking that more people don't get in car accidents. It's shocking that more people didn't get run over by this maniac. Ladies and gentlemen, get off this thing. This thing is going to get you hurt. It really, really is. You, bad people, okay, criminals look for people with their head down, glued to these phones. You are asking for trouble. So the advice today is stop spending so much time on your phone with your head down, oblivious to your environment. Situational awareness, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if you're out and about in public, there are so many things happening, many things we don't even hear about. Make sure you're exercising situational awareness. Having your eyes down on a phone, you are asking for trouble. You really are. Another article today, this is coming from The Hedge. The administration suddenly orders release of another 26 million barrels of strategic oil reserve. So we have everything going on over in Ukraine. We hear about what could happen in Taiwan. Now we have things flying around in U.S. airspace every day. We're shooting balloons and objects down every day. Tensions with China are rising. And what's our answer to everything? Let's continue to vaporize our strategic petroleum reserves. Unbelievable. What a security risk this is. We are really making a lot of enemies, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have a lot of friends across the globe anymore. And so what we are doing is, it seems like we are weakening ourselves. It is so incredible to think that we now have objects flying around from other countries. We don't even know exactly who it is now. We could say China, but we don't know. It hasn't been confirmed. Balloons, objects, but whoever is flying these things, maybe it's other countries, including Russia, maybe, but we know it's China for sure. But it could be a host of other countries. But doesn't this come across as weak that, you know, last week that one just flew right over the entire country before we took it out. But it seems like somebody's getting very brave that they're doing this time and time again, and there's not much we can do about it. What happens like when somebody sends 20, 30 of these objects over, 100 of these objects over? What are they capable of doing? What are they capable of doing? What's their payload? It really just makes you really begin to think that we're very touchable, that our grid is very touchable. You start thinking about EMPs. You start thinking about other weaponization with these objects. So get prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Anything could come out of left field now, anything. But just imagine if an EMP occurred. It is lights out. We are back literally to the dark ages. Literally back to the dark ages, and most people are not going to survive that at all, period. It would be very difficult for me. Listen, I try to prepare. I am not the most prepared person at all. There are people in the comment sections that blow me away. There's no doubt about it. There's people I know that blow me away. I'm doing the best that I can. But when you start talking about an EMP and everything going down, you're going to see some crazy things. And it's very possible, ladies and gentlemen. Not saying it's going to happen, not saying it's not going to happen, but there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes now, and there are capabilities out there now that could take us back to the dark ages, no doubt about it. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I think I could talk a little bit more about some other things, but I'm going to save that. But just a few things to think about. Number one, know your environment, exercise situational awareness. That is so important. Two, keep preparing, making sure you have all the essentials, because there is so much happening and we are very, very vulnerable. I think like what we've seen transpire over the last week with these objects and balloons flying over has exposed a lot of weakness and vulnerabilities of our military, of our defense system, and the likelihood that something bad could easily happen. And it doesn't even take that much technology, apparently. You could just fly a balloon right over U.S. airspace and, you know, have a payload, have an EMP, have this thing weaponized with God knows what. And, you know, like I said, what if 100, what if 1,000 of these things came over? Are we going to be shooting these things down every day? When do we finally lay the law down and say enough's enough? When does America, you know, here's what America has to do as I close. America needs to stop being so reliant on other countries. America needs to stop being reliant on medicines and pharmaceuticals from Asia. America needs to stop being reliant on plastics, aluminum, steel, and even food from other countries. We need, in order to be empowered, in order for America to have power again, we need to start building, creating, and manufacturing right here in America. And we need to stop selling this technology to the highest bidder. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful day. Pray for this country. And as always, I look forward to speaking with every one of you. Thanks for watching. Please share, please like, and please subscribe. God bless.